Well, hey guys, and welcome to Inspirations for Your Life. It's great to be with you here. It is a Monday. Yes, a wonderful Monday. And although Monday is not the start of our week, it is the start of most people's work week. Our weeks start on Saturday and they finish up on a Friday. So we're already on our third day of our master topic, which is seeing clearly. It's great to be with everyone. If this is your very first time being here, welcome. If you're coming back, of course, I want to say welcome back. If you're thirsty, hungry, or anything in between, feel free to go grab yourself some RO water or perhaps a snack, a beverage, healthy or not. That's totally up to you. If you are new here or not, don't forget to check out believemeachieve.com. For those of you that are watching, you can see it on my hat. For those of you that are just listening, believemeachieve.com is the full resource where you can get my short form content, long form content, articles, reels, and yes, so much more. So guys, without any further ado, let's kick this show off. All right, everyone. So this is Inspirations for Your Life. This is series 5, which means we're in our 5th year. We're already 4 years and almost a little more than 3.5 months into the 5th year. This is show 12, episode number 3, and it's about wake up. Yes, the master topic of the week is seeing clearly. When your vision sharpens, your decisions improve. Hey guys, I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur, engineer, marketing specialist, video producer, podcast host, coach, keynote speaker, graduate student, and guys, yes, a passionate lifelong learner. And pretty soon, guys, I am going to be a published author, and I am so thrilled with that. This episode is about waking up to your own awareness. By the way, there'll be more details as we get closer. The book is scheduled to be dedicated to my parents. On April 16th or 17th, we'll be doing that live on the air. And then the book will be officially open for orders the end of April. I'll be starting my official book tour in June. So definitely stay tuned for that. Also, I will have the book on Amazon. It'll be, I believe, on Barnes & Noble Press. It'll also be on ACX, on Amazon Audible. So you can get it there as well. So this episode, ladies and gentlemen, is about waking up to your own awareness, sharpening your thinking, and making intentional choices and decisions that align with your goals and, of course, your values. Now, strong lives are built when awareness replaces assumption and intentional choices replace drift. You know, a lot of people get confused with this, but this is how it works. So this is Wake Up Monday. And again, awareness begins, ladies and gentlemen, with transformation. Everything starts with noticing. And it could be a subtle notice. It doesn't have to be anything really big. Noticing what's happening in your mind and the environment around you. I think a lot of people miss the environment around them because they're so busy that they don't have time to quiet the chattering monkeys in their head. Awareness, guys, is the spark that ignites growth. Without it, decisions are reactive. And we talked about proactive and reactive, haven't we? So proactive is when we do things like when we talked about the fire, being ready for the fire. Nobody wants a fire, but being prepared for an emergency is much better than trying to get ready for the emergency when the emergency is currently happening. Honest thinking, guys, improves growth. Being truthful with yourself about where you are and what's working allows you to make adjustments that actually move the needle. We've talked about the needle before. Needle was talked a lot about when we think about meters and things. That's where the needle comes from. Clear vision strengthens decisions. When your vision is sharp, every choice aligns with your goals. Decisions become easier and they appear more confident because they are. Facing truth, guys, builds confidence. Avoiding reality wastes energy. So let's stop that. Confront challenges head on to develop self-assurance and authority over your life. Awareness removes confusion. Chaos comes from, unexamined assumptions. Mindful attention clears the fog so you can see the path forward. We all know we've been in the car before and maybe the temperature is not balancing properly with the outside and the inside, and it's getting too foggy. So what do? You throw in the defrosters. And sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. So honest reflection fuels improvement. Take stock daily, guys. You don't have to make this public. You can just do this yourself. Review what has worked and what's working for you now, what didn't, and what to do differently this time. Self-reflection is a compounder of results. So clear thinking builds strong plans. Thoughtful planning isn't about rigidity. It's about constructing a map that guides your actions with clarity and precision. Now, I'm not going to name any people, but there was a group on one of these social platforms, and the group, let's say admin, was getting so, how can I say, demonstrative about the premise that they were knocking out people that really should be in the group. And so people even came up and said, I think the real problem is not these people. The real problem is you. You're getting too retentive. And I see where they're coming from. So insights improve strategy, guys. Understanding patterns and predicting outcomes make you smarter, proactive, instead of being reactive. When we recognize patterns in our life, whether that's for education or anything, we are able to recognize them in the future and oh, I get this. I know how to apply this, right? This happens a lot in math and also a lot in science. Strategy comes from deep insight, not guesswork. Awareness reveals opportunities by noticing subtleties others just seem to overlook. You can easily identify opportunities before they become obvious. But I got to be honest with you, it takes some time. It takes some effort. You're not just going to do this at the drop of the hat or the snap of a finger. Clear thinking, guys, reduces mistakes. It really does. A mind trained to see clearly cuts down errors, protects energy, and it prevents wasted effort. Truth, guys, strengthens leadership. Leaders who face reality inspire trust. Honesty in decision making creates influence that endures. Honest evaluation builds progress. It measures results without a bias. If a tactic fails, learn from it. If it succeeds, replicate it and do more of that. Progress comes from objective assessment. Awareness sharpens direction. When you know what matters, it's easier to focus your energy where it counts most. But many people are still focusing their energy on things that appear to be what they need or what their ego is telling them, but not really what they should be working on. So insight builds understanding, seeing the connections others miss, gives clarity to complex situations, and strengthens decision-making. Now, if you're going to rely on your ego all the time, this is not going to be an easy feat for you because you're going to be constantly fighting with your ego. Let the ego go a little bit and allow the rest of you in the environment to guide you, okay? Clear thinking supports discipline. When your mind knows what is essential, following through just becomes natural, simple, and more consistent. Awareness, guys, expands possibilities. Being conscious of your thoughts today and surroundings of the environment reveals choices you might have ignored. Honest thinking builds wisdom. Daily self-examination turns experience into actionable intelligence. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I said it helps you turn experience into actionable intelligence. It does not happen on a dime. You have to intentionally want to turn the experience into intelligence. Insights strengthen judgment. Seeing patterns and potential outcomes equip you to make smarter, faster decisions. Under pressure, that is, okay? So awareness builds resilience. Recognizing challenges before they overwhelm allows you to respond rather than react. And I've said to you, it's better to be proactive than reactive. Reactive gets done from the ego standpoint. Reactive does not happen because of the calm, the intelligence, the interpolation that we've gotten from data and experience of the past. It doesn't happen from that. Clear vision drives success. When your end goal is sharp, vivid, Your actions align naturally with progress. It's like Legos or any kind of Lincoln Logs. They just kind of naturally go together, right? When they're at the right angle and at the right place. Understanding improves outcomes deliberately, okay? Analysis reduces errors and increases the likelihood of favorable results. All right, that's important. Insight fuels progress. Regular reflection on lessons learned accelerates the growth and avoids repetitive mistakes. See, once we make a mistake and we don't acknowledge that mistake, we keep making it over and over and over again, and it becomes a habit, and it's hard to undo that programming. Honest awareness improves leadership, guys. Knowing your strengths and your weaknesses strengthens your ability to lead and inspire others. Clarity supports better action, guys. So when we get clear, we know where we're going. When the windshield in our car doesn't have snow on it or doesn't have fog on it, we can actually see where the heck we're driving. Actions become more effective when guided by a clear, prioritized plan. I just told you that when your windshield is foggy, you shouldn't attempt to drive, right? When you have a clear vision, or if you're wearing eyeglasses, even I wear sunglasses. If your glasses are cloudy, suddenly things are not sharp and you're missing details, not just small details, but big details. Awareness improves timing. Recognizing the right moment to act increases efficiency and impact. Clear thinking increases your efficiency, just like a clear window increases your ability to drive properly. Eliminating mental clutter lets you focus on the tasks that truly matter. But sometimes our ego, puts up these blocks. And it becomes this tug and pull game, tug of war, with our one side of our mind and the other side, right? Because of the ego. Insight, ladies and gentlemen, strengthens planning. Understanding potential obstacles before they arise allows preemptive action and smoother execution. We've talked about preparing for emergencies, whether it's the fire. I use the fire a lot because that's an important one, right? So what you should have is you should have an escape plan. You should know at least 2 ways to get out of your home or your building. You should have the go-to plan of what you're going to grab, your go bag, your emergency stuff. That's it, not everything else, not the kitchen sink. Where are you going to meet when this happens? How are you going to get out of your home or your building? Practice this. Don't just say we're going to do this in an emergency. We'll actually practice it. Yeah, that's just as good as like nothing. So you want to practice this and get comfortable so that going to that place, doing these things, the stop, drop, and roll, it's not something, let's try that the first time. No. During a fire should not be about being reactive. It should be about being proactive. There's certain things in a fire you're going to be reactive to, and that's okay, like fire and smoke. But the rest of it, you should be proactive and expect and know how to respond. Honest awareness, guys, fuels growth. Continuous self-evaluation ensures that learning compounds over time. Over time. The key is it doesn't have to happen overnight. I said over time. Clarity creates opportunities. Clear priorities free up mental and physical energy to seize what others miss. And that's the difference between a successful person and a non-successful person, is that the non-successful person is still looking at the clouds. They're still looking at the picture from, let's say, weeks, days, months, or years ago. They're not looking at the picture of the situation with today's mindset. Wake up to what matters, guys. Awareness, honesty, insight, and clarity combined to produce deliberate action that transforms your life. This is your moment to move intentionally rather than drift. And I think when we hear about the conversation of drift, we're like, if I drift, it's no big deal. I can just get back on track. Yes, you can. But every time you fall off or you drift, you have to recalibrate again. I'm going to use this to analogy that is very clear to me and hopefully to you. I started competitive sailing when I was not even like 7. I learned how to sail when I was like 4 or 5. And the thing about it is that if you are in a race, I did competitive racing on B-cats and sunfish, which is what I learned on. If you understand that maybe you've drifted from the position of the wind, a choice that you made. And let me just give you a couple examples. Now, forget the race for a moment. Let's say if you drift one side. If you drift one side, it might be hard for you to get back because now you're not going to be able to just let the sail out halfway, be on a reach, or all the way to be on a run. You might now have to tack back because the other position is actually almost in the wind. And if you go in the wind, you'll be in irons. So we've got to be proactive. So yes, you can drift, but it might take you 2, 3, or 4 times longer to get back. If you're in a race, and let's say I got off the wind, okay, and now I can't round the buoy as close as I want. I got to be careful because I might be too far away from the buoy. I'm going to lose time, or I might get too close to the buoy. And if I hit the buoy, you know what happens? I've got to reround it because that's how I am, right? You know, I'm all about intentional things, right? I'm about doing things that are intentional, integrity, right? But some people might say, you know what? I don't need to do that. I'm just going to do what I want to do. And then I'm going to get some people that aren't happy with you, and I'm going to tell you that you better reround the buoy or we're going to protest. You're like, well, what's a protest? I don't care. Until you understand what protest means you're basically going into like an informal hearing where you've got 1 or 2 boat captains and skippers basically filing a formal complaint against you. And the race committee has to decide, are they legitimate? Do they have proof? And if you have even 1, 2, definitely 3, your hands down. When there's a protest, usually several people for principle want to come in and be like reporting it. And when the race committee sees this, they're like, okay, this person's disqualified. And then you're ahead of that boat. So what can happen is by not rounding the buoy, you either might be pushed one, or they might totally disqualify you from the race, right? So in the case of this goes, it might be the sense that the other boats are far away, so they might just disqualify. So if you're in position, let's say 1, and there was 2 and 3, well, now you're going to be in position, let's say you'll be in the 3rd position, if that's the ones that you're rallying with. So when we lose our position, when we lose our spot and we drift, and we could drift a lot of ways. It could be spiritually, it could be mentally, it could be physically, even our exercises, right? When we drift, the further and longer the wave drift, the harder and more challenging it is to get back on track. We may drift and lose time. We may lose money. We lose other resources. And these are the key things when we're talking about wake up. Wake up is the fact that, hey, the world is moving and you're missing everything going right by you. It's right here, but you're not paying attention to it. So it's just going right over your head. And I know that sounds hard to believe, but people do this more than not than you'd expect in life. Somebody will say to you, well, I understand, right? And now you've done these things and they say they understand, but really they don't. And now you start explaining something to them, and because they don't even understand the premise of where you're coming from, now you've got to restart all over again. This can happen with vendors. This can happen in other relationships. It can happen a lot of different places. It can happen with yourself. I use the example of racing, let's say, exercising, even staying healthy. Once you drift, it is hard to get back. Not saying you can never get back, but it becomes harder. And if we think about wake up, right? Wake up in the morning, like, when you get up or wake up from a nap, your body comes back online. The best way to explain this is if you think of, let's say, technology. And let's say when you power something down, it goes offline. Well, when your body is sleeping, it kind of goes offline, except for certain functions like your heart and things like that. There's certain parts of your body that always keep working. But when the rest of your body comes back online, you're now tuned into what's going on. There's a certain part of your body that never really goes offline. But when all of your senses come back online and you're alert and awake, you can be as precise to hear even the drop of a pin. And you might say, John, I can't. Well, pretend right now for me, if you're not driving, that you're sitting on the edge of your favorite chair. Okay? Now pretend for a moment that you are the most fierce, ferocious lion. You're quiet. And you're listening for any sound in that forest that you could gather prey on. The sound so silent that you could hear the drop of a pin. I do this with a lot of my students. I tell people, if I can drop this pin and you don't hear it, your attention's not with me. The subtle drop of a pin doesn't really sound like a pin. It sounds like a little light click. And the first time I did it, I was like, oh, there's no ting sound. I just heard like a click. And that was kind of interesting to me. So waking up is our body using our resources to connect to our environment externally and internally. We hear things, we see things, touch, taste, and observe things. We're even aware of the position of our body. If your eyes were closed, don't do this if you're driving, you could tell whether your hand is up here or down there or your leg or position, even if your eyes are not open. So when we talk about seeing clearly, yes, it's about waking up, but not just in the sense what you think of waking up from a nap. It's about waking up your senses to their heightened state so you can detect the drop of a pin like a ferocious lion. When we pretend that we are a ferocious lion and we're sitting on the edge of the chair like that, you could become so intent and your hearing can get even better. We can create that by causing that moment of focus. That is just so powerful, guys. So the question I want to leave you with today is, are you woken up? When people talk, do you listen? When things move around in the environment, do you listen? Do you pay attention? Or are you like, I didn't hear that. Can you say that again? Or I'll wait to hear it again. You may not get the chance to hear that again. The universe may only knock once. Can you repeat that? I can. But 10,000 people already heard it, and they're probably already going to get it. So you're not even going to have a chance. That's why hearing things, experiencing things the first time is key. You might say, well, gee, who cares whether I'm first or second in line? That's not the issue here. The issue is how many people are going to get to that opportunity first. Will it be you? Or will you be saying, I think you said this, or I think it was about that, but could you repeat it? No, I can't, because it's already too late. So I want you to wake up in your life, not just from sleep, but wake up your potential. Wake up to your dreams, to your reality. Wake up to the change that you can make. Wake up to what you're telling your mind. That's important, guys. Remember, everyone, clarity is the foundation of progress. Remember that. Each day, take a moment to simply pause. That's right, just pause. Reflect. And intentionally choose to realign your actions and your core values with the goals and aspirations that you have in your life. Small conscious choices compound into unstoppable momentum. So don't think because this is not a grand thing I'm doing, it's going to have no effect. In fact, it probably will have a big impact. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you guys know this, but your choices affect your environment and they affect your perception. A lot of times, people's perception is diminished because of what someone else says. Don't allow other people to shut off or diminish your perception. Don't do that. Because once they do and they build that habit into you, you're never going to be acute and aware to those things. And that's the difference between success and waiting for it. Ladies and gentlemen, I am John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It's always a privilege, pleasure, and honor to be with you here. You can catch the latest episode of Inspirations for Your Life at believemeachieve.com. The episodes drop, as you know, every single day. We have these on every day, and I want you to watch them and listen to them, whatever you choose, and take actionable steps from the lessons to elevate the clarity in your life. Focus, resilience, and personal power is the key to success. Are you ready, ladies and gentlemen, to stop sitting on the bench and becoming a real player in life? Or do you just want to hope you get the message? Because hopers don't become successful. Have a great one, everyone. I'll catch you real soon. Take care.